The signal. No one could ignore. The stars were quiet for many years, peaceful, still. But one day, a signal broke the silence. In a dark control room aboard an old Earth listening station, a man named Ben sat alone. His job was simple: monitor deep space signals. Most days he just listened to the same static or repeating patterns from far-off satellites. But on this day, something different came through. It wasn't a normal signal. It was raw, broken. A voice, faint and full of fear, repeated one message: "Help us. Please, they're coming." Ben leaned closer. "This isn't human," he whispered. The language was not Earth's, but Earth's AI translation system picked it up. The message came from a planet far beyond the outer colonies, near the edge of a dead zone called the Void Strip. No species ever survived there for long. No colony returned. No signal ever made it back, until now. He pressed the emergency alert. The room lit up red. Across Earth's main defense headquarters, sirens echoed. Scientists, commanders, and leaders gathered. The message repeated again, on every screen. "Help us, please, they're coming." Humanity had changed in the last 200 years. They had become stronger, smarter, and more united after surviving the Silence War. That war almost destroyed them, but it also taught them one thing: never ignore a cry for help. But this was different. This cry was ancient. It had crossed galaxies. The source? An old Alliance world believed to be extinct. A peaceful race once called the Yalari. Admiral Ross, head of the Earth Defense Fleet, stood before the world leaders. "We're not the peacekeepers of the galaxy," he said, voice low. "But we are not the kind to sit back and do nothing." Earth's council hesitated. The Void Strip was cursed space. No maps worked there. Ships got lost. Signals faded. But something inside every human watching that message stirred. It wasn't just pity. It was anger. Why? Because the voice was terrified. And that terror felt too familiar. It reminded them of Earth's own darkest days. A young pilot named Tom stood inside the hangar, staring at the warship assigned to him. It was old but powerful, equipped with new rail cannons and shields powered by the latest Earth core reactors. He wasn't a commander, just one of many pilots chosen for the mission. All over the world, soldiers packed, engineers loaded ships, AI drones calculated safe paths through the void. Earth was moving fast. The message had only been received 12 hours ago, but already a fleet of 80 ships was ready. The mission was clear: go to the source of the signal, find the sender, and protect them. No one knew what waited on the other side, but one thing was sure: if something had dared to bring fear across galaxies, it had just made a mistake by calling out in the same universe where humans now roamed. As the ships began to rise into orbit, the skies over Earth lit up with fire, trails. Children watched, elders remembered. The galaxy had called for help, and humanity was thundering back. Into the void, the Earth fleet broke atmosphere like a pack of steel dragons, 80 ships strong, each one built for war, for rescue, and for survival. These weren't just machines, they were humanity's answer to fear. Admiral Ross sat in the command center of the lead ship, Iron Will. Around him, officers worked quietly but with focus. Everyone knew this wasn't a simple patrol or exploration mission. They were heading into the unknown, into the Void Strip. No ship had ever returned from the Void Strip. It wasn't just distance that made it dangerous. It was the strange energy storms, the gravitational shifts, and the feeling, like the space there was alive and waiting. Still, Earth didn't hesitate. On board one of the mid-range destroyers, young pilot Tom sat in his cockpit, staring at the stars. His ship's spearhead hummed quietly around him. This was his first deep space mission. Most rookies would be nervous, but Tom felt something else, a heavy purpose. He replayed the message on his screen, that same broken voice, that same plea. "Help us, please, they're coming." Who were they? That question burned in everyone's mind. As the fleet entered the edge of the void strip, lights across the ships dimmed. Their sensors began to glitch. Navigation systems turned uncertain. Ships held tight formations, relying on AI coordination instead of old star maps. Then the first shadow appeared. A giant shape passed near the outer scout ship. Not a ship. Not a rock. Something different. The scout pilot screamed into comms before the signal cut. Admiral Ross ordered the fleet to hold formation. What was that? One of the AI analysts responded. Unknown, organic, moving faster than expected. Large mass, possibly alive. Before they could respond, the fleet's sensors picked up movement. Dozens of fast, strange objects were flying toward them. The enemy had found them, turrets armed, shields powered up. The void flashed with light as Earth's fleet opened fire. These were not like any enemy humanity had seen. They were black, long-bodied creatures, flying through space with no engines. Their skin absorbed light. Their shapes changed as they moved, like shadows dancing in zero gravity. But humanity didn't come unprepared. Laser barrages cut through space. Rail cannons fired solid metal slugs at hypersonic speeds. Missiles danced through the void, locking onto the creatures with deadly precision. The battle was brutal but short. The creatures, despite their speed and numbers, couldn't match Earth's raw firepower and tactics. After 15 minutes, silence returned to space. The void was littered with pieces of the dead, but there was no time to celebrate. The AI reported something worse. The signal origin has moved. It's deeper into the void strip, about 3 light hours ahead, and there are more incoming. Admiral Ross frowned. They're chasing the source. They didn't know if anyone was still alive at the signal's location, but now it didn't matter. Earth's fleet changed course and accelerated. Tom felt his heart beat faster. They weren't just flying to help. They were flying into a war zone. As the ships burned forward, leaving trails of blue plasma in there, the galaxy began to feel it. Humanity wasn't just answering the cry for help. It was bringing thunder to the stars. The broken world 3 hours passed. The Earth fleet pushed deeper into the void strip, guided only by the last known coordinates of the signal. Outside the ships, space grew darker. Stranger. Stars seemed dimmer here, like something had swallowed the light. Admiral Ross stood silently in front of the main display on the iron will. "Report," he said. A comms officer responded. "Signal growing stronger, sir. We're close." On the forward screens, a planet came into view. It was small and cold, floating near the edge of a dying star. Its surface was cracked like broken glass. Large impact craters stretched across its land. Fires still burned. One of the officers whispered, "This place, it's already seen war." As they neared the orbit, the main signal source was confirmed. It was coming from a broken city, half buried in ash. The structures were tall and curved, made from pale crystal, but everything was shattered now. The fleet slowed. Dropships launched from the hangars. One of them, Falcon 3, carried Tom and a small team of soldiers. As the ship descended, Tom looked out the window. The planet's surface was worse than they had imagined. Empty streets, burned-out towers, dead machines half buried in rubble. No movement, no life. When they landed, ash crunched under their boots. The silence felt heavy. Inside one of the destroyed buildings, the source of the signal was found, a damaged tower with a faint blinking light at the top. They entered carefully. The walls were blackened from fire. Strange symbols lined the halls, glowing weakly. At the base of the tower, they found something unexpected. A survivor. It was a thin alien, curled inside a broken communication pod. Skin pale blue, eyes wide and glassy. It was barely breathing. But as they approached, it turned. Its head. "You came," it whispered. Its voice was weak, but its eyes were full of hope. Tom dropped to one knee. "We heard you." The creature tried to speak again, but only a few words came out. "They came from the dark, took everyone. Feeders, destroyers." Its hand pointed toward the sky. Still, up there, medics moved in quickly, placing the alien on a stretcher. A translator drone hovered over them, recording every word. Suddenly, alarms blared across all Earth ships. The AI on Iron Will spoke in a flat tone. Multiple contacts inbound. Large biological signatures. Speed, extremely high. Estimated arrival, 5 minutes. Admiral Ross didn't flinch. Prepare for battle. Back on the ground, Tom and his team rushed to evacuate. Dropships lifted off, carrying the survivor and key data from the broken city. From orbit, the dark shapes came into view. Hundreds of them. The same creatures from before, but larger. Some were the size of Earth frigates. Their shapes twisted and reformed in space, moving without engines. They had followed the signal, and now they had found Earth's fleet. But Earth was ready. Defense lines formed. Fighters launched. The thunder of humanity was about to shake the void once again. As the first wave of alien beasts approached, Admiral Ross gave the command. Let them hear us roar. The sky lit up. Humanity's roar. The first shot came from the Iron Will. A rail cannon blast ripped through the darkness, striking one of the large beasts head-on. The creature exploded into black mist, evaporating before its body could hit a ship. Then the real fight began. The alien swarm descended in waves. Dozens, then hundreds. They flew like shadows, darting between ships, stretching their bodies in impossible shapes. Some slammed into hulls. Others latched on and tried to eat through armor with their jagged limbs. But this wasn't humanity's first war. Not anymore. The fleet moved as one. Turrets rotated in perfect sync. Missiles locked onto fast-moving targets. Fighters swarmed, like angry hornets circling the enemy and firing in bursts. Tom, now piloting Spearhead, weaved between blasts of enemy fire. He pulled his joystick hard, sending his ship into a roll that barely avoided a beast's strike. "Target on my tail," he shouted. Another pilot swooped in and fired a plasma shot, vaporizing the creature. "You're clear, Tom." Above them, one of Earth's carriers, the Mountain Forge, took heavy hits. Several beasts had wrapped around its hull, trying to break through. The carrier's point defense guns lit up like fireworks, tearing them apart one by one. Still, more kept coming. Inside the Iron Will, Admiral Ross watched the battlefield with steady eyes. "Status? Outer line holding, sir. But their numbers, they just keep coming." Ross nodded. "Then we'll keep fighting." But the enemy was changing. Suddenly, several of the alien beasts fused together in mid-space, forming a massive creature the size of a battleship. Its skin was layered in glowing black plates. Its mouth opened wide, revealing rows of shimmering fangs. It roared, and the sound somehow carried through space. Everyone heard it, not through the air, but through their minds. Tom clutched his head. It wasn't just a sound, it was a feeling. Rage, hunger, hatred, like the thing had never known peace. On the Iron Will, Ross's voice cut through the tension. "All ships, focus fire on that thing. Bring it down before it reaches the planet." The fleet responded. Missiles launched, cannons roared, lasers burned. The sky above the planet turned red and white with fire. The giant creature dodged some hits, but others tore through its body. It screamed again, louder, sharper. Then it surged forward. Tom pushed Spearhead to full speed. "I'm going in." He flew straight at the beast, dodging debris and enemies. His targeting system locked on. "Come on, just a little closer." With a steady hand, he fired his ship's final torpedoes. The glowing warhead struck the beast in its mouth and exploded. The creature shuddered. Its roar turned into a gurgle. Then, finally, it collapsed, torn apart in a glowing storm of fire and dust. Cheers rang out across every human ship. The enemy. Swarm paused. Then, as if sensing defeat, they turned and vanished back into the void. It was over. The signal had been answered. The beast had been stopped for now, but everyone knew this was not the end. Back on the planet's surface, Tom stood beside the injured alien. It looked up at him, eyes weak but thankful. "You came," it said again. Tom smiled faintly. "That's what we do. And above them, Earth's fleet hovered like guardians watching over the ruined world. The galaxy had cried out. Humanity had thundered in return, and the stars would never forget it. The enemy's purpose. The sky above the broken world was quiet once again, but no one celebrated. The fleet had won the battle, but not the war. Admiral Ross stood before a large display screen aboard the Iron Will, watching the remains of the enemy drift through space. They didn't fight like animals, he said. They were organized, focused. Beside him, the ship's AI spoke, its voice calm and cold. Scans show neural patterns, shared intelligence, a hive system. These were not mindless attackers. They had a goal. But what? Ross asked. Why attack a peaceful world in the middle of nowhere? The answer came from the planet below. In the ruined city, scientists had recovered more than just the wounded alien. They found a massive underground chamber, a vault hidden beneath the signal tower. Inside were hundreds of strange objects, glowing stones, metallic fragments, a sphere that pulsed with light every few seconds. It was clear the Yalari, the lost species who sent the signal, had protected something ancient, something powerful. The wounded alien, now stabilized and conscious, told them the truth through the translator drone. This world was our last. The vault holds memory seeds of stars, of time before war, before death spread. Tom stood nearby, listening. You mean knowledge? The alien nodded slowly. Not just knowledge. Maps to lost planets, civilizations, warnings of things yet to come. The beasts, they hunt light, they fear memory, they destroy it. Admiral Ross received the report and felt his chest tighten. These creatures weren't just eating life, they were erasing it. They hunted places that preserved the past. Any race with records, culture, or ancient truth was a threat to them. They don't want power, he said quietly. They want silence. If these creatures were left unchecked, they wouldn't just destroy planets. They'd erase entire histories. The galaxy would forget it had ever lived. The Council back on Earth received the data within minutes. Arguments broke out. Some leaders feared getting more involved. Others demanded full war, but the people of Earth had already made up their minds. Tom's broadcast, recorded in the ruined city, had gone viral across human colonies. In it, he said only one sentence. If we turn away now, we become like the silence they bring. It hit everyone. Back on the battlefield, engineers worked fast to lift pieces of the alien vault onto Earth's ships. The surviving Yalari, less than 20, were moved into safe chambers and cared for like honored guests. Admiral Ross stood before the bridge crew and gave the next order. We're not retreating. We're not just saving survivors. We're bringing the vault back to Earth. We're going to guard it with every weapon we have. And then, we're going to find out where these beasts come from, because next time we're going to strike first. The crew saluted. Tom stood at the hangar, watching more wreckage being cleared. He had seen war before, but this was different. This wasn't just defense. This was a mission now, a fight for the future of memory, of stories, of light. As the Earth fleet began its journey home, carrying with it the survivors and the ancient knowledge of a forgotten race, one thing was clear across every ship. Humanity had heard the galaxy's cry, and it wasn't finished roaring yet. The truth beneath the silence. The return trip to Earth was not peaceful. Though no more attacks came, every ship in the fleet stayed on full alert. Patrols were constant. Weapon systems remained armed. Everyone understood now they weren't just fighting creatures, they were fighting something deeper, something ancient. Admiral Ross stood in the vault chamber aboard the Iron Will, studying the glowing memory sphere recovered from the Yalari ruins. It pulsed like a heartbeat, soft and steady. The Yalari survivor, the one who had sent the original distress call, floated nearby. Its body was weak, but its mind sharp. The translator drone hovered close, catching every word. This was not the first time they came, the Yalari said. In our past, they struck many. Quietly, swiftly. Whole worlds went dark. We survived by hiding our knowledge deep. But still, they found us. Ross nodded slowly. And now they've found us too. The sphere began to respond to human interaction. Earth scientists discovered it could project holographic records. With each wave of light, it revealed images, ancient stars, dying planets, forgotten empires, all destroyed by the same enemy. One image showed something else, a dark world, larger than any known planet surrounded by swirling black clouds. It was marked with one word in the Yalari language, origin. Tom, standing near the science team, frowned. Is that where they come from? The Yalari responded. That is where it began. For the first time, Earth had a clue, not just who the enemy was, but where they were from. Back on Earth, the Council debated what to do. Some urged caution. Let's strengthen our defenses. Wait and see, they said. Others, led by younger voices, called for bold action. We've seen what happens when others wait. They vanish. But the people didn't wait. Across Earth's networks, footage from the battle spread. Tom's words, the images from the vault, stories of the Yalaris, near extinction. Children drew pictures of Earth ships fighting space monsters. Artists painted murals of the Thunder Fleet returning home. Humanity was no longer afraid. They were angry. Admiral Ross held a private meeting with Earth's top commanders. We've survived worse, but this time, we won't just hold the line. We carry the knowledge of the lost. We protect the voice of every race that was silenced. Preparations began immediately. The memory vault was placed in a secure location on Earth's moon, inside a fortress built into the rock. The surviving Yalari were given Earth's protection, and a new fleet was planned, not for defense but for discovery. Tom, now a rising name across human colonies, was chosen for the next mission, not as a pilot, but as a first contact leader. His job, follow the clues left in the memory vault, find other hidden civilizations and warn them. We're not alone in this fight, Ross told him, but we might be the first to roar back. Tom nodded. Then let's make sure they hear us. As ships were built and new routes mapped, the Yalari memory sphere played one final message. The stars remember those who act, not those who wait. And so for the first time in centuries, Earth wasn't just preparing for survival. It was preparing to lead, to fight, to protect, to bring back the light. Humanity becomes the beacon. Months passed. Earth's skies now held more warships than ever before. New designs, faster engines, heavier weapons. But these ships weren't meant to stay in orbit. They were built to move, to explore, to warn, and, if needed, to strike. The new fleet was named the Beacon Line. It was a message to the galaxy. Humanity would not hide. It would not forget. It would shine. Tom stood on the bridge of the Resolute Dawn, the first ship of the Beacon Line. Around him were young officers, engineers, diplomats, and translators. It wasn't just a warship. It was a moving embassy, a protector, and a scout. Their first destination, a planet mentioned in the Yalari memory vault, a place called Laura Prime, once home to a brilliant species. The vault showed it as a bright, ocean-covered world. But when the Resolute Dawn arrived, Laura Prime was cold and quiet. The cities were gone. Only stone ruins and broken towers remained above the water. The same silence, the same signs of feeding. Tom felt the weight of it all. He stood in the ruined city and whispered, "We were too late here." But Earth's message was not just about grief. It was about action. Above the ruins, a beacon was placed, a tower that pulsed with light. It sent out a signal in every known language. This world was lost to the dark, but Earth remembers. If you are out there, if you hear this, you are not alone. We are coming. The signal spread across the stars. One by one, Earth's ships moved from world to world. Some were lifeless. Others held survivors in hiding. Each time, the humans brought food, medicine, weapons, and most of all, hope. The galaxy began to notice. Across distant stars, whispers spread. They came from a death world. They brought light to the broken. They are not afraid of the dark. Back on Earth, the Yalari watched in awe as humans took up the mission their own people had once tried and failed to complete. They had lived in fear for generations. Now, they watched humanity move forward without it. In the heart of Earth's moon base, the memory vault expanded. New entries were added, not just of war, but of life. Art, culture, laughter. Earth had become not just a warrior, but a keeper of memory. Admiral Ross stood before the council for one final speech. We were the last to arrive in the Galactic stage, but now we carry the light forward, not for glory, not for power, but because we remember the silence, and we refuse to let it win. Tom, now a symbol across colonies, stood beside him. We were born from struggle, raised in chaos, but we found our voice, and now the stars hear us. A new signal was sent across every known frequency. It was short, clear, strong. To the darkness, we heard your silence. To the galaxy, we bring the storm. We are Earth. We are here, and we roar. And in that moment, across every surviving world, in every quiet star system, in every shadow still haunted by fear, humanity became the thunder that answered the cry.